right, welcome to my Ethics Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's other mediums on which you can enjoy this content. And, but the best way and the way that you're probably going to want to go today for certain is the blog. And the blog is at myethicsbuddies.blogspot.com. But that is a lot to remember or to type in. So, wherever you are engaging with this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. If you tap on that, another box will open. In that box will be a link to the blog. Okay? And you click on that and you go there. Excuse the cricket. I tried to find it. I don't know where it is. And it might even be outside. But yeah, I don't know. So whatever. I guess this is going to be the summer of crickets. Actually, summer is going to be over soon, right? So anyway, all right. And thank you for all the birthday wishes and gifts and blessings. And yes, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Those are great too. And then also, if you want to subscribe, that's free also at 11 minutes and 11 seconds, at least on YouTube. A little icon pops up in the lower right bottom. You click on that and then you are subscribed. And I guess you're supposed to hit a bell or something, but yeah. Okay, so today was September 3rd. It was. It was a day to remember. Well, but anyway, yeah, Wednesday. Okay. And it was another good, well, it is what it is, right? So we're just going to go with that. There's a lot of articles. I'm not going to get to all of them, but there is a video about the security. What is the security situation in Iraq? Oh, wait, let's get those people out of there. So, see, I need a bottom thingy like that. How do you get that? Like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, sorry, got distracted. What is the security situation in Iraq? That's his name. Hussein Alawi, advisor to the Iraqi Prime Minister, gives his assessment. And you see, it's just 15 minutes. It's in English. And it's pretty good. So I have put this at the bottom of today's blog, and that's why I said you may want to go there and watch it. They do ask about the relationship between us and them, and he says he stutters a little bit, just a little. And I mean, he should have been prepared for that, right? So you'll see, because remember, I've been like, I don't know how the relationship is with the U.S. president and Sudani, and there's more evidence today that we are going to bat, I'll say, more for the Kurds than for Baghdad. But so there was just one more thing before I get into the articles. There was an article that came out. It was actually a statement from the Treasury. I don't think we talked about it. And they did catch smuggling. They have names, they have dates, they have companies, all the evidence that they need, right? And so how can you you have to kind of look at Sudani side-eyed, but also it went through Kurdistan. So they're both, aren't they both equally liable? And they're smuggling the oil to Iran, right? And probably money, probably dollars too. So, but yeah, so I'm sure you can get that, from all the other sites. But, I don't know, maybe I did talk about it yesterday, but I think it's a good thing because they're cleaning up more corruption and also showing, hey, we can bust you anytime we want to, right? and maybe even use it as blackmail. You never know, right? Okay, so that's that. All right, so now let's get into this. Liquidity crisis and diversification, Iraq's economic crossroads. So they keep saying there's no liquidity crisis, there's no financial crisis, and as this drags on, they're like, oh, well, we can't pay the salaries. Are we going to be able to pay the salaries? Right? And now this is Baghdad. This is not Kurdistan. Okay? So this is actually a study. So here's the title. So if you click this link here, when it's a live blog, if you want to, you click that link, it'll take you directly to the original article, but it'll be in Arabic and you have to translate. But, so it says rentier economy, current challenges and strategic options for economic diversification. Low liquidity in any country is one of the most significant challenges facing countries or companies dependent on oil revenues, especially when oil prices decline. Liquidity means the availability of cash to cover short-term obligations, and its decline can lead to a financial deficit and economic turmoil. But paying the salaries of the whole state or country, that's not a short-term obligation, right? They have to do that month after month. I don't know. Okay, so searching for alternatives. This is, if not the best paragraph, um, one of them. So it says, Member of Parliament Hussein, his last name cannot be Arab. No way. Well, if it is, that, Anyway, he told the news that if the price of oil drops today, the country has alternatives such as the non-oil sector, which we can activate more. And why do I like the word activate? Because for those of you who don't know, Iraq approves things in 3 stages. They approve it, then they implement it, and then they activate it. And thus activate the productive dinar. Woohoo! And so they used to call that something else. I think they're moving away from the private sector terminology and saying productive dinar, as well as the tax and customs sector and other sectors. He indicated that the sectors of domestic currency recycling, what? The productive dinar and the electronic dinar, there it is, are all matters that are included in the government's plans to study. Now we know they've been studying at least 10 years for this, what they're calling the productive dinar. I'm going to say at least 10 years. The others, the digital one, I don't know. I don't know how long they've been doing that because when they first started talking about it, I didn't really pay attention because I'm like, oh, we're not going to be here that long, right? 4 years later, we're still here. So they've been studying this stuff. They just need to go. And then they have a whole heading that says activating sectors. So for his part, here's another expert. And if you go there, they actually have pictures of each one. But I'm like, we don't need to see them. All right, so he told the news that the country's economy should not remain rentier. And for those of you who don't remember, rentier means dependent on one thing. As there are many components through which Iraq can obtain numerous financial resources, one of which is the insurance sector, which is a productive sector all over the world. He explained that if we make insurance mandatory, look at that, they're learning well, aren't they? If we make insurance mandatory for many things in the country as exists all over the world, then without a doubt, we will obtain a high economy from this insurance, in addition to the financial departments such as tax, customs, and tariffs, all of which are departments that we can activate. to provide us with high resources that will be a tributary to the oil sector. Okay, so we already know they already have done the customs and what did he say? Customs, traffic, all of that is done. They don't need to study that anymore. And we'll see. We'll see another article about that. So yeah, and then the tax thing, they're working on the tax thing. I mean, they're working really aggressively too. So yep, they'll be taxing them right away. Okay, let's see. So then the human element. So this is a really good article. I suggest you read, but you know, some people. So now here they do mention the private sector, the Iraqi private sector. See there? And support it so that it innovates, so that people work, so that the poverty gap is closed, right? Where do we hear all that? All right, so that's one of them. That's one of those economists. I don't know which one. So, real challenges. This is the last paragraph of this article. According to economic and financial experts, it is clear that excessive reliance on oil revenues poses a real challenge to achieving financial balance and sustainable development. Previous experience has shown that global market fluctuations cannot be controlled, which necessitates the adoption of more diverse and flexible financial and economic policies. And see, they know all of that. But like he said, the oil, it's out of their control. Who controls that? They call them an oil mafia, right? Have you ever heard that? They call OPEC the oil mafia. All right. And yeah, we would be part of that, right? Because we made OPEC. Yeah, so. Right. Here, this is Mohammed Saleh, which is weird. They're calling him an economist, but he's the advisor to the prime minister. He says Iraq enjoys financial stability thanks to the central bank's reserves. So, yeah, that is pretty clear. There's not too much other. It's reflecting and stimulating the labor market and enhancing economic activity. There's strong coordination, blah, blah, blah. You can read that if you like. So now here's one article about the salaries. They're going back and forth. They said, okay, we're going to pay the salaries. And then they're like, oh, hold up. Maybe we shouldn't have said we were going to pay the salaries yet. And this is Baghdad. This is not Kurdistan. So the retirees, they're supposed to get paid first. Then I think the benefit, like welfare, then they get paid, and then the people. And tomorrow's a holiday. So it says salaries will be postponed until Sunday. Well, next Sunday, but we know that means Sunday. And maybe postponed more if cash is not available. So there's definitely a problem. So is that bad? It is bad, but I also think it's good because maybe the people will start to push back. I'm going to say push back, not that would be the first stage, right? So if you start at push back, then you can go to, there's other phrases you can use to escalate, right? An economist warns of high prices and the weakening purchasing power of citizens. I don't know why that image is so big, but yeah, so there's that. I don't know how to say his name. Whatever. He warned on Wednesday that rising prices, especially of consumer goods and foodstuffs, will weaken citizens' purchasing power in the absence of real reforms in the salary file. Salary file is waiting for the budget, I believe. So then this sentence here, the failure to review the salary scale or increase wages, coinciding with the decline in the value of the dinar against the dollar, has reduced citizens' purchasing power, whether for goods or foodstuffs. So it's already happening. And this person, are they in Kurdistan? No, I think this is covering the whole country. But here's the title. An economist warns the Iraqi government of a serious crisis related to securing salaries. So yeah, I don't think they paid anyone today. And this is Baghdad, right? Yep, so they talk about what if oil goes down to $55, pressure from the US Federal Reserve. So there's several reasons why it's happening. And we know the help, right? Okay, now this is interesting. I don't know if it's good or bad, but there's now 900,000 people in Kurdistan that have gotten into that My Account salary system. It's a push to modernize banking and enhance transparency. We've talked about it before. It used to be 450,000, then it was 700,000. Now they're up to almost 1 million people. So if you want to read that, you can. It's quite lengthy. I'm not sure why it's so long, but yeah. All right, and here's my one commercial. If you'd like to support my FX buddies, that Buy Me a Coffee link will be a live link when it's a live blog. Cash App is always live, and my tag or whatever is $Tish Wash, and the same for PayPal. Big or small, I appreciate it all, and thank you in advance for your generosity. Ding! All right, so here the day started out great. Sadani went over to Oman, and boy, did they do a lot. They signed 2 agreements, which I don't know what that means, but they're calling it 2 agreements and 24 memorandums of understanding. So yeah, that's a lot. So if you want to read about that, you can. And that's just one little article. And the Prime Minister did point out to the Omani people of the stability in Iraq, its clear and principled position in the regional arena. All right, and they want to help the Omani private sector. But I'm thinking, isn't Oman more developed than they are? I don't know. I don't know because I don't study it, but they've been around. Oh, well, I guess they've all been around the same time, huh? Okay, so here, Baghdad Herbal agree on that ISCUTA system. So they have a unified company ID. So they're under the same ID. And remember, I think I talked about it with you guys. I was saying, now how do they know the difference if they're using the same code? How do they know if something was Kurdistan, or the rest of Iraq? I don't know. But that means now that their custom routes and border routes are now in that system. So they'll be less likely able to smuggle and get away with it, if I'm thinking correctly. Because I don't really want to study too much of that, but that's what I'm thinking. Now they use the same code, then that means they have the same tracking, right? Except I don't know if they have the sonar. Remember, Iraq has the sonar scanning. They can scan the trucks. I don't know if Kurdistan has that, but I bet you they will. If they don't now, they will. Okay, here's more about the purchasing power. Actually, this is the same. No. This is one. It has a couple of different economists, but prices are eating up Iraqi salaries and weakening their purchasing power. You know what? Maybe it is the same. It is. Okay, but this is a different one. I'll delete that one. Iraq's financial sector struggles to modernize. So Iraq is facing renewed debate over banking reforms. So remember, they pushed it out to 2027. I know you guys don't like to hear that, but there's no way they can make this go. They can't survive another year and a half, I'll say, without changing the rate. They can't. So they can work on banking reform, even with the new rate, even with the new money and stuff. And they do mention it's politics. Alright, so you can read that if you like. Here's the details of the Baghdad Herbal meeting on funding. A matter of fact, this is the best article to read. So I'm going to go back and put 3 asterisks in front of that. You won't see them now, but in post-production, look at me. But no, when I'm done with this, I'll put 3 asterisks in front of that so you'll know that's the best article to read on the meeting. So they did have the meeting. It took place. The minister said, we are ready to send the 7-month salary. So that's the finance minister, Miss Sammy. But we have basic conditions. Surprise, surprise. And they were, the first condition is the export of oil from the Kurdistan region and the delivery of the agreed upon quantity daily. But they already did that. They did that to get June. So hopefully they'll do that to get July's money, right? The second condition is that we ask them to hand over 50% of total local revenues, including revenues from ports, customs, taxes, traffic, health, water, and electricity. I don't know if they're going to do that. To me, that's asking a lot. Yeah, but all right, so we're almost done. These things are random. There's one more. But maybe we'll get to it, maybe we won't. But so German and Chinese companies will open car production lines in Iraq. And that's great, right? And then in the article, it says Brazil too. So that's jobs, because remember this government was smart enough to mandate if you're going to come build here, you're going to use our people, a certain percentage of our people. And all of this is going towards the slogan of Made in Iraq, see, and aims to employ local workers and provide economical and environmentally friendly cars. And here's another indication that there's a problem with the salaries. The UN guy, the guy that filled in for Jenny from the UN, who, by the way, is Omani. So is it any coincidence? Which, if you know me, you know I don't believe in the word coincidence. But they get this guy from Oman to be the UN representative, and all of a sudden Oman is like in the spotlight big time, right? But anyway, yeah, so he was interviewed. Oh my gosh, you think I talk slow? Oof. He talks slow. In Arabic, he talks slow. So I imagine he probably talks really slow in English. But he says, I have great confidence in the Iraqis' ability to resolve all these administrative matters with skill without harming the livelihood of any Iraqi citizen. But if he's being asked to speak on it, there's a problem. Right, so okay, here, U.S. Congressman. So this is what I was saying. Here's another indication that we are backing Kurdistan. So remember that he's the guy who wanted to not pay Iraq their money. He wanted to put sanctions on Iraq. He's been a pain in the butt to them, I feel. I mean, putting myself in Iraq's shoes. You know, he might be doing what's best. I don't know, but Iraq is probably like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Can we get rid of him? But anyway, so yeah, he even wrote the amendment and they have posted it. They posted it in Iraq's news. That was posted in Iraq's news. So see, it's right there. But he's saying that Kurdistan is a strategic partner and he calls on Baghdad to cease pressure. Yeah, so I think we're leaving Baghdad, you know, as the strategic partner and going towards Kurdistan, which maybe that was part of the plan anyway. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard we're building the largest embassy in Kurdistan. right? You've heard that, right? And so maybe that was the plan, that at the end we would have to move to Kurdistan and move our support there too. I don't know, but we'll see. Well, hopefully we won't see, but so then here, U.S. to Kurdistan regional government officials. We emphasize transparent governance and reform. So the U.S. Central Command, Brad Cooper. Let's see, did I memorize his name? Yes, Admiral Brad Cooper. Oh, that's like that actor. Isn't there an actor, Bradley Cooper? Okay, so that will help me easily remember his name. He's met with the son Barzani, the nephew Barzani. I haven't seen him meet with Daddy Barzani, but Daddy Barzani was busy. He was out talking about the holiday tomorrow. So, yeah. But Cooper stressed the United States' commitment to defeating is times 2 and promoting regional stability while stressing the importance of transparent governance and reform. Yep, so we'll see. Okay, can't stay here long. Matter of fact, let me go back. I can't have that image there. But the H people, guess what they did? They are launching a double kablooey that has multiple. I don't know a way to say that. So there's a 3-letter word. I say aggressive actions, aggressive maneuvers. The word starts with W. Okay. And then their heads. So the tips of the kablooies are those. And this will be only the second time they're going to do it. When they're going to do it, I don't know. But they did put that out there. And so Yahya Saree is still alive. That's the guy who comes on TV screaming. And I'll leave that there for a few seconds if you want to read that article. All right. And there's the last. All right. Fawad Hussein receives Iran. Okay, the foreign minister of Iraq receives Iran's deputy foreign minister, because I think the foreign minister is over in China, or maybe on his way back from China. And what do they talk about? Bilateral relations and regional and international developments. So yeah, this is his house, Fawad Hussein's house. And there they are talking. I'd like to be there to hear what they're talking about. So it looks like those 3 European countries that are putting the sanctions back on Iran, it looks like that is having an effect. They don't want that. And so they are asking to come back to the table, but they're saying that we're ignoring them, which we quite possibly could be. So I'm hoping another article will come out tomorrow, and I'm more watching that for peace. I don't want more. I lost a long time ago, lost track of the ceasefire, how long it's been in effect, but I want it to stay in effect. And so that's why I'm hoping we can talk, come to an agreement. Okay, so here's the other. Oh no, is this the last? Yes, so this is the last article. It's Mohammed Saleh, and he's talking about the 3-year budget, that it was a qualitative shift in public finance management, right? So it was an experiment, and I hope they feel that it didn't go well. But it's unfair really to say that, because they had a lot of sabotage from inside and outside, right? So maybe it could have gone well if in a perfect world they were left to function as they had intended to, right? But so then also they're talking about their growth. I believe the GDP could possibly be 5% annually. So when they go back and bring out the numbers and show the numbers. So yeah, that's the last article, and there's the video that I said would be there if you'd like to see that. All right, so thank you for watching. I know it's boring stuff, but it's good stuff. It's all good, I think. And you know, we're just gonna go with suddenly September. Maybe it'll be dry, 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 and then boom, liquid, right? And I'm using liquid because liquidity, right? That's why I use that terminology. All right, so again, I will say thank you. I will say, please hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And guess what? You don't even have to leave, because if you missed the last episode, right about now, there should be a little square, and you can hit the square and it'll start playing the episode for you just like that, and you can watch it. All right. So thank you again. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals. Pay all your bills. What else? What else? Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time, which I'm certain will be tomorrow.